We're back with another video related to Shopify. This time we're going to update the very popular video that talks about shipping. And we'll probably talk about a little bit of taxes. All right. Thank you for guys. If you guys haven't subscribed before, I strongly encourage you to do so. Press the like button if you like this type of content. And also let me know down in the comments because I pretty much reply to everybody as much as I can, especially if you're having issues, anything related to Shopify. We're using the Shopify winter version, even though they might not say it here, but it is the winter version based on 2024. And let's go ahead and discuss where we're at here so far. So if you already watched a video related to how to add a product into Shopify, I encourage you to do so if you haven't. Ensure that you've already known how to add your product into Shopify, the inventory control, all that good stuff. Maybe even set up collections. Again, if you haven't done so, go ahead and to those other videos and go ahead and check that out. Let's go ahead right now to the most important instructions on setting up shipping, and that is setting up a location. If you're a drop shipping store, let me show you some apps that might seem familiar to you or might not, doesn't matter, but it's all the same at the end of the day. I'm using Zopi. Here's an AliExpress dropshipper, Desers, whatever, AliExpress drop shipping. There's more, right? There's obviously Oberlo and all those other guys. But if you already have them installed and you've grabbed your products from those databases and put them into your Shopify, this is where we're at in order to go ahead and continue with the shipping setup. So make sure that that's all set up there. Now let's go into the settings. So I'm over here, follow my mouse. To the bottom left, let's go to settings. And the first thing that we want to go is to locations. We want to set up that location first. If you already have one of those apps, those locations might have already been set up for you. But if for whatever reason you're not doing drop shipping, you're doing private supplying, in other words, you're making your own products or it's coming from a warehouse that you control, then let's go ahead and set up that location. It's the destination as to where the products is going to ship from to the customer. Right? So right here by default, it probably added my business address. So if you haven't done so already, add a location and put the address right there. And then over here, I'm going to call it main store location, right? That's in case if you have more than one location. For all of you guys that are in Shopify Plus and all that higher enterprise stuff, maybe you have more than one location where certain inventory comes from one spot, another inventory comes from another spot. That's more technical. If you're into that type of business, let me know down in the comments. I'll make a separate video for that. But if you guys are like most folks, one location, that's it. Remember, if you're doing drop shipping, do you have to do this? Well, you can if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna go ahead and press save here for now. But hey, this cannot be verified. Can you please make sure, make sure that you verify that, of course. So main location, that's me. But if you have those other locations, they probably already have that pre-set up for you. And I'm gonna show you now on the next page where you could see that, okay? Now that we have this set up, the next thing that we're gonna go is to shipping and delivery. You'll notice that I have 3 locations. One of them, let's dive into this. Like, what are these 3 locations? Remember how I showed you that I had those other apps? Check this out. So shipping origin, we have the Desers fulfillment. That's that one app that you saw on the drop shipping. And I have fulfillment services from AO. That's that other app. You guys might be dealing with that where there's more than one drop shipper location, right? Or you're using more than one drop shipping application in order to source all your products, right? It's always better if you just have one, but I understand if you have a whole bunch. And that's what this means. And then I have my main store location. That's if I'm doing drop shipping from here, I'm doing drop shipping from there, but then I also have like, let's say one product that I'm shipping from my house. That's that store main location or your office location, however that may be. So shipping origin, make sure that that is set up properly, that's set up there. Once this is all set, of course, you could go ahead and show the details. You could see right here, my main store location, that is from my home per se, or my home office, right? And then we have the apps, okay? If you're not working with any of these, let's say you uninstall those apps, you could go ahead and make sure that those are deleted. But for the most part, that is important. Now we're going to the shipping zones. Let's first understand theoretically what shipping zones are, okay? So for the most part, if a lot of you folks who are watching this video are from the United States or you're shipping to, in other words, you're selling to the United States, doesn't matter what part of the world you're from, right? No matter if it's drop shippers or yourself, right? You need to create a zone for the US. If you're from the US and you created your Shopify in the United States, domestic is gonna appear by default. You don't have to set that up. But in some cases, if you're international, let's say you're watching this from Europe, from Australia, Canada, sometimes domestic might be your country or it might not show up there. Therefore, you need to create a zone first before we get into this technicalities of the shipping itself. So if you don't have domestic set up as the United States, the first thing that we do is we go right here where it says create zone and you call it exactly that. You call it United States. Okay. Now, you already notice how I have United States already set up. So for this example, let me see if I could just set one up for Canada, pretending it's in the US, right? This is just for example purposes. I'm just trying to make this as easy as possible for you, okay? So I'm gonna set one up for Canada, right? And then right here, I'm gonna go and search for Canada. And now Canada, I could either fulfill all the provinces, or if you wanna use that term in the US, think about all the states, right? Everything, including like the Virgin Islands, you know, all those remote locations, military locations, so on and so forth. Do you wanna use the whole thing? How do you determine that, right? So first, again, if we're talking about drop shippers, contact your drop shipping supplier, get on a support ticket and be like, hey, do you ship to every part of this country? Every one of them, even the Virgin Islands, even the military, whatever. They might say, no, only the continental US, only the 50 states. And at that point, you might be like, okay, we don't want to check the whole thing. We want to check only those, or check the whole thing and then uncheck those that they don't ship to. Be careful for that, okay? So if they ship everywhere, let's select this whole thing. And you could see that everything is selected. But if it's not the whole thing, then you could say, no, this is going to be custom. 1, 2. And at that point, you've chosen only a series of the states of that country or the province of that country, right? And then of course in the zone name, make sure that you note that down. Minus some states, okay? And there might be another instance where they say, hey, we'll ship at our regular price to the United States, but to these other areas, we're gonna charge $2 more. At that point, you wanna create 2 zones. One that's called domestic United States minus these states. And then that's one zone. And then another zone called the United States, the plus or the premium United States. You might want to call it like that. Because in that way you could set up 2 different prices. Here's one for the regulars and here's one for the premiums, right? You could separate them by creating zones. And the way that you create zones is you title them out, you search for them here, and then you select which one works best. So to keep this more simple then, we're just going to choose Canada and we're going to select all of them there. We're going to say done. And then by doing so, no rates have been created yet because we created zones. You don't have to create every zone that you're going to ship out to if the prices are all going to be the same. What I mean by that is, let's pretend that for Canada and for Europe and for Australia, you contact your shipping provider and they say, hey, the prices are flat. They're always going to be the same for all of those countries. Well, then you don't have to create a zone for all of them, right? You could just call it the rest of the world, okay? But if you're going to ship to those other countries because you know you have to, then create a zone for each of those countries that you want to ship to. I know a lot of you who are watching this video are just focused on the United States, which is perfectly fine. That's okay. So let's pretend that you're just going to ship to that country and you want to create shipping rates for that country. So first we created the zone, all set. Now let's go and add a rate. We're going to click on this one right here and it's going to ask us, do we want to use a flat rate or are we going to use a carrier in order to connect their rates over to here? Remember, what are these rates? These rates is what the customer is going to pay, not what you're going to pay. There's a difference. A lot of people get confused out of that. Well, should I just charge them then what I pay? That's totally up to you. Should I just do free shipping? I encourage that because a lot of people are already, conditioned to think like they're buying from Amazon. And Amazon always likes to give them free shipping. And let's face it, if you're just first starting off, free shipping is where it's at, right? You don't want to start charging for shipping because then people are going to be like, give them free shipping. And then whatever that shipping costs, you go to the product and then you bake that into the product. What that means is that if a product costs, if you're charging for a toothbrush $5, but shipping costs $2, on your store, make it $7 plus free shipping. That sounds more attractive than $5 and then $2 shipping. People get turned off after they see that the price is more for shipping. That's when you're starting off. Now, when your brand has grown, that it's like, oh my God, you have sales left and right and things are going well, now you have the right to go ahead and lower the price, but then charge separately for shipping. They're going to pay it anyways because they love your brand. They already built that connection with you. You know what I mean? So for now, what I'm saying is do a flat rate. And let's go ahead and set it up as custom. And then right here, we're going to say what that rate is. Let's pretend it's free shipping. We're going to type free shipping. And then the price is free, just like that. We're not going to add any conditions. We're going to press done. And that rate has already been completed. Free shipping, no matter what, no matter how much they put in the cart, we're not worrying about that because whatever the drop shipper told us that they're going to charge for shipping, we're just going to add that number into the price of the product. because people love free shipping. That's what I'm strongly advising you. And it makes this process so easy. Now, this process over here where you're doing expedited, where you're doing standard, right? Expedited means like rush shipping. You want to give rush shipping versus standard shipping. That's when you already have been in business for quite some time and you offer those services where you're selling the product from your home and sales are just flooding in. That's when it's like, okay, let's offer folks, standard shipping versus whatever shipping. If you want to go ahead and do that, there are two methods on how you could calculate this. You could calculate this based on weight of the product, right? By weight, pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Let's pretend that I'm selling this tripod, right? If I package this if I just weigh this product on a scale, it's going to weigh like, let's say 1 or 2 pounds or 1.5 pounds, right? But that's not the weight that we're looking for, because the weight that the carriers charge you is based on the final packaging weight. It's when you already put the package inside the box. I'm not going to fit a tripod in here. It's when you package the stuff inside the box, and not the exterior box or the branding box per se. I'm talking about the brown box or the white box, whatever it is that you package. When you package all that up and you put the stuffing in there and the product in there, and then you finally weigh it, that's called the final weight. How much does the final weight weigh? You follow what I mean? Right. So we're going based off that, not how much the product weighs. Okay. Again, none of this matters if you're doing drop shipping, because you're not shipping out the product yourself. You're just basing this off of whatever they are charging for shipping, and you just transfer it over into the product, right? This has nothing to do with you. This has to do with if you are selling the product physically from your warehouse or from your home. That's what this conversation is about, right? So we're doing this based off of weight. And for something like that, let's say, again, I repeat, if I package this tripod that I'm selling into a box, now it weighs like 2.5 pounds. And so at that point, I want to say standard shipping, right? Anything that weighs between 0 and 2.5 pounds. Whoa, that means from nothing to one product. So for one product, you're going to charge $4.90, which a lot of the people who, have these stores, when you sell, they're only selling one unit, maybe. But what happens if you package 3 of these or 2 of these? You have to ask yourself, well, if people add a lot of products into an order, how much can I fit in a box? You need to figure that out. If you are supplying this yourself, how many can you fit in a box? You say, well, in a box, I could fit at most 3. After 3, that's it. Now I'm using a separate box, or I'm doing this huge box or whatever, right? And so that's when you have to multiply the 2.5 pounds into units, right? So if it's 3, what's 2.5 times 3? I don't know. Right? 5, 6, 7.5, 7.5, right? So from 2.5 to 7.5, you say, I'm going to charge $9, right? Sometimes you folks are using something that's called flat rate shipping from USPS, where it doesn't matter how much it weighs. As long as it fits in the box, that's how much it costs. That's pretty good, right? So one way that you could charge people is based on weight. Now, to make sure that this works, the whole weight thing, we're going to come back into the configuration. But if we're doing the weight thing, then let's make sure, I'm going to go ahead and press discard. No, let's save it right there. That's fine. I'm going to press save right there. Let's go to the products. All right, let's go into this Army baby dress doll. Let's go over here and look at all these variants. So I have a size small right here. I'm going to click on the size small. I'm going to click on this Army green, and now I'm going inside of the variants settings. And then from here, you'll notice that we have the price, cost per all that, main store location. How many do I have here? This is a physical product, and it weighs 1 pound. Does it really weigh 1 pound? No, it probably weighs like a few ounces, but after I package it with the box, it approximates to 1 pound based on that unit. So if we're doing this based on weight, make sure that all of your products have the weight attributes already configured. Otherwise, this is not going to work. Okay, so if we're saying, wow, I don't want to go into every variant, into every product, one by one, saying 1 pound, I got you covered. This is what you do. You go to where it says products. You go right here and select all. And then you want to say, I want to select everything in the store, not just this range right here, because this range of products, that's probably like 25, 50 products. You want 50 plus, right here, 50 products. You want the whole thing, right? Right there, 50 plus products. And now what you're going to do is you're going to go to the bulk edit screen. The bulk edit screen is like Microsoft Excel. It shows you everything. So we're going to go right here. And in this interface, you guys might have not seen this before. Okay. This is where we say, all right, I see the columns here. Your columns might not be the same as mine. All right. But we're going to modify that. We want to bulk change. We want to change all in one shot a value of every product. And that is the weight. So we're going to go right here and modify the columns. We're going to modify the columns, and we're going to say, all right, I see the status. I see the product category. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see the vendor, right? Let's see, markets, base price. I'll leave that there. We're looking for weight. Bam, there it is, weight. And now we could see all the weight, right, for everything. You notice that I have 1 pound, like I mentioned here, but then I have others that are 0 pounds. And so you're gonna have some issues where you set the setting as weight, but then you come across a problem where the shipping doesn't let you. You test it out on the checkout and it is not working. It's because of this right here. We have some products that have weight, but others that don't. And so for that reason, I'm gonna go ahead and select the first one of the variant because it's a size small. And I'm going to press and hold the shift button, shift. I didn't say a bad word. The shift button on my keyboard, right? Press and hold it like Microsoft Excel, but some of you guys might have never used Microsoft Excel. Press and hold the shift button. And I'm going to select, I already selected the first one. That's why this is blue. I'm gonna select the last one while holding the shift button. I clicked on that once. Now I let go of everything. You see, I have selected what's called a range of products. From this to this. That's what that means, okay? Now that I have that selected on my keyboard, I am going to press the number 1 because I want this to be 1 pound. And pay attention how all of it changes. You saw that? All of it changes from within that range, okay? And once I'm done, I press save. That's another problem. A lot of people, they say, well, I did that and you forgot to save. And then you just go back to the other screen, you try and test it out. Oh, it doesn't work. Now, relax. Like, let's go ahead and follow these instructions. Make sure that you that everything is working properly. So let's pretend for a second that, wow, look at all these. This is zero across the board. I'm gonna do this test one more time. From the first one, let's scroll all the way down. And you see how it loads here? Give it some time. We'll scroll all the way down. Still doing that. Now, mind you, this is a store that they sell everything clothing. So this might not work for you. What I'm doing right now, if you have, let's say, a tripod that you're selling, and then all of a sudden you're selling a monitor that weighs like 20 pounds or something like that, this is not gonna work. This is if all of your products weigh the same. So first one, last one, right? Hold the shift button, click on the last one. Notice how it selected everything, the whole thing. And now I'm gonna press 1. And literally, going through everything has been set to 1 pound, but I haven't saved it yet. I'm gonna press save. And it might take a little bit because it's going through every variant, not every product, every variant, every color, and it's changing everything to 1 pound. And I do not leave this screen until that little spinning wheel that's up in the upper right-hand corner stops. There it is, product saved. Now we could go ahead into that other page. Let's press back. Let's go back into our settings. Right here, we're gonna go to shipping and delivery, and we're gonna go right here to shipping, and now we're back, okay? So now we could create where it says, look, 0 to 1 pound, I charge this much for that 1 unit, okay? Now, from 1.1 means, remember how I said everything for 1 pound, right? 1.1 means it's more than one product because of that little decimal, that 1.1. 0.1, that makes it, that's the next product. That means it's 2. So from 1.1 to 2 pounds, I charge double the price, or I charge this amount of money, right? That's how you could do it. You could do it in segments, but don't go a plethora of different prices because you have to be realistic. How many people are going to buy? And on average, working on many e-commerce stores, I've noticed that it goes between 1 product to maybe up to 5 products in one, right? So you might want to say, okay, create 3 segments of weight. This is how much 1 box of product is. This is how much of 2 to 3, and this is how much of 5. And then anything more than 5, it's just a flat rate of, let's say, $20, because by that point, it's already a big box, and no matter what I throw in there, you're not going to surpass $20. So you would create, like, let's say, 3 dimensions of the standard. From here, how do we create a rate of weight? Now that you understood the whole dimensions and how to set all that stuff up, we're going to go right here where it says add rate, custom, and we're going to say standard. But standard what? You could say standard single item because it's 1. Okay. And you're going to set it up so that it's a conditional pricing based on weight. We're going to talk about this in a second. The minimum weight is from 0 up until 1 pound. All right. And from this point, we're going to say that it costs, according to the shipping, you know, I'm just making this number up, but you get that information either from your carrier, drop shipper, whoever, $4.99. So standard single item, $4.99. Now on this one, standard, a good key practice that I encourage you to do, you don't have to say single item, that's more for you. So let's just put right here, single item. I'm going to put this right here instead for the notes. Okay. So right here, a good practice is to say 5 to 7 business days. Let them know how long this stuff is gonna take. Now, if this stuff is gonna take like crazy long, you know what I mean? Then you might say, okay, I don't wanna add that information. That's up to you. But people like to see how long things are gonna take. So it might be a good idea to set it up like this. And then look, standard, single item, 5 to 7 business days. Not days, no, business days, right? $4.99, okay? I press done. And then look at that, okay? 5 to 7 business days, right? Single item. But then you go create another one that's from 0 to 1 and it costs $6.90. And then you say 2 to 3 business days, right? And then now the person can choose, the buyer can choose between what time to what time, right? So if I want to edit this one, expedited, let's go over here to says edit rate. And we're going to call this shipping rate expedited 2 to 3 business days, all right? Minimum weight 0 to 1. So you have two that are 0 to 1 for one single item. You have one that's express and the other one is that standard, okay? Expedited, bam, there it is. So if someone goes to the checkout on any product right now, after I press save, any product, and I just choose one product, it's gonna say expedited or standard, 5 to 7. It's gonna give them two options. But if they added more than one, that's where this comes in. The 1.1 to like 2 pounds. Let's go right here for a second. Let's edit this standard, right? And this one, again, I'm gonna call it the same thing, 5 to 7 business days. This rate right here, we're gonna say between 2 to 3 items. You don't have to write that. This is just for internal notes for me. And this one, I'm gonna call it 2 to 3 items. It's gonna be $5.25, right? And it's gonna go minimum weight, 2 to 3 items, the 1.1, remember, because it's more than one, but no more. If I say 3 items, 2 to 3 items, then it's no more than 3 pounds because every one is 1 pound, right? So 1.1 to 3, standard, $5.25, okay? Done, right? So you notice that this standards is the same, but you notice that there's a range, 0 to 1, 1.1 to 3. And then the other one, or the last phase, could be 3.1 to 5. And then the last one could be 5 plus, meaning whatever to maximum, right? Whatever to maximum, let's go ahead and do that right here, edit this rate. And it's 5 to, let's just delete this. No limit. No limit means it's until the end. It just doesn't matter. At that point, I'm going to charge you a flat rate of a huge box. And that's just what it is. You set those options right there. Done. Okay, and then you do that again if you're offering expedited, in other words, rush. You don't need to add rush if you don't want to. If you don't want to overcomplicate people and you don't want to do the whole rush thing, that's perfectly fine. Now let's talk about the other way that you could go ahead and measure shipping. The first thing is weight. That's what we just went through. The other one is price. So you have to understand on average how much all of your items cost. If on average one item costs $20, there goes that rate again, where it's 0 to $20. Let's go right here and modify this one. From 0 to 20. Now remember, if you guys are charging taxes on this, maybe 20 might not be the perfect example. Maybe you want to add the taxes to it. So you might want to say $22 or $23 or heck, even $25. It's just that you know that that's how much it's going to be for one item. That's my point. So the maximum price is hypothetically call this $25. And then right here, you would say standard, 5 to 7 business days, just like how I told you, just like how I taught you before. But this one is just based on that. And how much are you going to charge for that? You're going to charge $4.95 for that, or you're going to charge a nice premium. You're going to say, $7.95 instead of a flat fee. That's another thing, guys. You always want to put like a decimal so that if it costs you $8 to ship, put $7.95. If it costs $5, put $4.95. It always looks more attractive to have the dollar lesser, right, with a high decimal point value versus flat $5. It just doesn't look right. It's just a psychological thing that people do. All right, so $7.95 right here, standard. That's if it goes from $0 to $25. The concept is the same as how it is right here for the weight, just like how I taught you. It's just that now we're looking at it based on dollars. A good idea is to choose one or the other, not do both. Because if you do both, whoa, this thing gets totally messed up. Don't do that. Make sure that this is properly set up so that you're either choosing it based on dollar amount or based on weight. Now you might ask yourself, well, what is the best for me, right? I personally feel that based on weight is the easiest, because then it's easier to like give free shipping based on a certain dollar amount, because it's already based on weight. So the dollar amount, coupon, spend over $100 and get something for free. You could do that too, right? So let's pretend that you want to do a free shipping only if they surpass a certain dollar amount. And what's popular, by the way, it's not $100. It's if they charge more than, let's say if your average product is like about $20 to $30, then you want to say that 3 products, you'll give them free shipping. Because I mean, wow, if everybody buys 3 products from you, heck, give them free shipping, right? So if your average is like, let's say $25 for a product, 25 times 3 is $75. Yeah. So say orders over $80. Orders over $80 get free shipping. Orders over $75 get free shipping. Let's do that right now. So I'm going to create a new rate for free shipping. But what type of shipping? Is it going to be express? No, that's expensive. Free standard shipping. Remember, 5 to 7 business days. I'm not saying that's how much it's going to take. You might want to consult with your carrier, but this is my point. Free shipping, it's free, but we're going to add a condition when the price minimum is over $75. Like the minimum cap to get free shipping is $75. So if we go right here and press save, now we're going to notice that even if it's by weight, it doesn't matter. Even if it's by weight right here, it's just 1 product, they're not going to see the free shipping. If it's 3 pounds and 3 products is over $75, right? So if 3 products is $75, let's make this, let's update this. Let's make it $74. Yeah, because if we're saying that every product is $25, right? 74 and up is free because they surpass it. That's where they get the free. What triggers it? What triggers it is if they surpass a certain dollar amount. So if it's 74 and up, free shipping. So if they add 3 products where they meet this, they're going to see the option to pay for standard shipping, 5 to 7 business days, $5.25. Or they're going to see expedited, $9.90. And then they're going to see that third one, free shipping, 5 to 7. They're going to choose the free shipping because they met that threshold. You get what I'm saying? So free shipping, you should only have just one of them. You shouldn't have like multiple thresholds of free shipping. You could offer something also free expedited, so free rush. But free rush has to be over $100. You want free rush, you got to be over $120. It has to be very sweet for you, where your profits are like, wow, you know what I mean? And at that point, go ahead and do the rush free shipping for orders, let's say greater than $120. But you guys get my point. And I did all of this domestically, right? Because it's easier for domestic. And mind you, this looks like a hot mess right now because I've shown you ways on how to do shipping for this right here, for the based on weight and based on price, but also showed you how to do free shipping as long as they meet that minimum threshold of the dollar amount. That's it right there. I'm going to press save, and then you could go ahead and test that out to make sure that things are working. Finally, for the rest of the world is if you're shipping out to the rest of the world, you can make contingencies. Maybe you don't want to ship out everywhere. I'll tell you why. There's some areas or parts of the world that they don't allow you to ship directly to their house. They allow you to ship it to like a PO box or like a certain destination where once it arrives in their country, the customer has to go to that location and pick it up. And they have to sometimes pay duty fees for that. It gets very nasty. If your customers start complaining about that, they're like, hey, look, my package, this and that, it's not at my door. Where is it? Or I saw the tracking number started, but then it disappeared after this, and I have no idea where's the shipping. Oh my goodness. At the end of the day, you're probably not getting too many orders from that country. Delete that country. No disrespect to those countries that have those situations. I'm sorry to hear this. But if you want to say rest of the world except for those countries, you want to make sure that you modify this, right? The international. So let's go ahead and edit this zone. And you want to say rest of the world, but don't include certain countries that have, and I'm not saying these countries are it, right? But you go ahead and you uncheck those countries that don't fit your bill or that they just don't work out, okay? You could say rest of the world minus these countries. But if you do set them up that way, then you could set up those prices for that. Okay, now that we have that, I think another one is the calculated rates. So the calculated rates, Shopify has calculated rates. You could have an account with UPS, DHL. DHL works very good for places in Europe. It works fantastic. So if you're going to do, let's say, England, anywhere in Europe, I would totally recommend you to entertain or create an account with DHL. And then once you do that with DHL, guys, get ready for what I'm about to tell you. The calculated rates. Shopify is not very friendly when it comes to setting this part up. All right. And let me show you. All right. This is what we're looking for right here. Shipping by Shopify. That's when Shopify has an account with these folks and they say that you could have discounts of up to this much. Let me show you how I got here. First of all, the way that I got here was going to settings, going to shipping. Okay. And then scrolling down and then we have Shopify shipping. These are calculated rates. What are calculated rates? Just so that everybody understands. It's when the database of prices are automatically connected into your store so that when a customer goes ahead and wants to buy from you, instead of you trying to figure out that math as to how much things are going to cost based on how much things weigh, because a lot of this is based on weight, okay? How much is the things going to cost based on weight depending on the destination and all that? Sometimes having that automatic database that prices change constantly might benefit you. That's what this means, all right? Now, from this date, the way that I've learned on how this works is that you might not have this information or this capability unless you pay for Shopify for the whole year. That's one. Unless you pay for the whole year. Or unless you pay an extra on top of your Shopify bill. So it's either you pay for the whole annual thing of Shopify or you pay like an extra $20 in order to have these calculated rates enabled. So I'd say play around with this over here. But this one right here, if you have your own account. So I've noticed that working with a lot of stores when they have their own account, it works better because I'll give you an example. You go to UPS, not literally go, but you contact them and you say, hey, I do a lot of international shipments with, Germany, for example. I want custom rates. Shopify is giving me these rates, but I want custom rates. I want rates lower than Shopify. And then they're like, okay, well, let's set up a phone call. Let's do a meetup. We'll meet up at a Starbucks or whatever. And let's look at your international sales. And then that's when you start going ahead and negotiating those prices with them. The catch is that they put you on a contract, but it's good because as long as you're shipping a lot to that country, they're going to be like, okay, let's sweeten the deal. We're going to give you this much of a discount as long as you create an account with us. Okay. And that we're doing business with you for 1 year, making sure that those numbers internationally stay consistent. And that's when the thing is sweet, right? So carrier accounts, you go right here, you click on which one you want to connect. USPS, I don't advise you to go down this route. Establishing a relationship with USPS, it makes no sense. There's apps like Shippo, ShipStation, even Shopify that they have already built a reputation with USPS in order to get the best discounted rates. So don't even bother right here. However, these two, FedEx or UPS, absolutely. What I'm surprised here is DHL is not listed. I would contact Shopify and say, hey, I have a DHL custom account. Let me go ahead, help me out, connect my account to them. And then they're going to ask you for a username, password to connect that account. But remember, this might not work unless you're either paid Shopify for the whole year, or if you call Shopify, there isn't even a button to do this. You call Shopify and you say, I want calculated carriers enabled. They're going to be like, okay, we're going to have to charge you an extra $20. Yeah, go ahead, put it there. And then you go ahead and do that. If you're starting business, is that even worth it? No, because you have no data. And you probably get like 1 or 2 shipments going out internationally outside of the United States. At that point, it's not worth it going through all this mess, right? At that point, set your standard shipping, cut and dry, right? If you notice that there's a lot going on, then you're like, okay, let me go ahead and do it that way. Let me go ahead and do the calculated carrier. But for the most part, folks, what I can tell you is that if you are shipping a lot of heavy items that weigh over 20 pounds, UPS is going to be your friend because they get more cheaper the more the item weighs. The more the item weighs based on the dollar per weight, UPS is king, right? Now, when it comes to things that are based off of the lightest, right, where it weighs the least, UPS is the most expensive, right? Because I guess the way that they're looking at it is how much space is this thing taking, and they have their own algorithms, right? But based on weight, if it's like 1 pound or just a few ounces, USPS is your friend domestically in the United States. FedEx is good when it comes to things that are, let's say, electronic and need signatures and you want the highest security of that delivery, right? So let's say you're getting a lot of frauds where people are saying that they didn't receive signature, I need proper insurance and all this, that, and the third. USPS might not be good. It's by the government, right? So getting an extra signature and following up on that and making sure that tracking is okay, it's a hot mess with USPS. That's when FedEx is king. FedEx is king because they make sure that that stuff is properly delivered. We're talking about electronics, things that are high risk, maybe even waist trainers or hair extensions, things that there's a lot of trouble with the customers that you need signature. That's where FedEx is king. You might want to do that domestically. DHL is king for Europe and Australia. Yeah, because it's a European company. You get what I'm saying? So when there's end-to-end tracking, they're the best. Whereas USPS, once it leaves like Miami or it leaves the port of the United States of America, it gets into their local, their local USPS or whatever they have in their country, and they produce a new tracking number, and the tracking gets lost. They're like, where's my order? Well, here's the tracking. Well, the tracking says that it stopped right here. What's up? Oh man, USPS, what did you do to me? DHL. DHL will send tracking from the United States all up until their door to Europe. Anywhere in Europe, even Canada, they're pretty good. And Australia is pretty good, right? So those are the advices there. To connect the account, you could use, again, like I said, Shippo, or you could use those other ones. Which one's the best? I'll create that in a separate video. But this is where you will go ahead and do that. All right, guys, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to do a separate video related to taxes because we covered a lot of information on this video. If you found this information useful, please go ahead and let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. Let me know if you like the way I teach. If you like the way I teach, it's really important for me to know this. I do have courses as well where I go deep on how to sell, how to do other things, but I hope you enjoyed this. And all I ask you is to demolish that like button. Like, just hit it real hard, make it turn blue. And let me know down in the comments of what you think, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.